All right. We are live again, part 2. I hope the procession is not going to start again. I'm so sorry. And now we have also sorted out the PPT. So let me show you the PowerPoint.
Yeah,
let me share the screen. Can you see the screen?
It's just coming. Yes, I can see the screen now. So
okay, great. Okay. So this is Karakas in 12 to the Ascendant stroke Moon / Bhava.
Yes.
What is the effect on the Karaka, signification wise or Bhava wise? Okay. Do you want me to go to the next screen, Vandana ji?
Yes, please. Yes. Okay.
Please teach us.
Yes, thanks, Sunil. So the thumb rule is that if, in astrology, the first rule, that principle that we are taught when we start judging horoscopes is to study effects of a house, study the Bhava, Bhavesh and Karak. So study the house, house lord and significator. Now we're going to turn this around a little bit and we will begin with the significator rather than the house and the house lord. So house lord is not the primary significance that we're going to look at Karak. So whether it is we're going to study Venus for comforts and pleasure, or Jupiter for wisdom and finances and spouse for woman, or we will study Mars for brothers and courage and for all other significations as we've studied for classics and so on and so forth for all the planets. We will begin with the Karak and we will study the Karak when it is placed 12th to the Ascendant, when it is placed 12th to the Moon, and when it is placed 12th to the Bhava of which it is Karak. So for example, Jupiter is Karak for 2nd, 5th and 9th house if it is placed 12th to that. So if it's placed in Ascendant 4th house and 8th house, as an example, what will be the effects? And we're going to do this as a very random small study and see what the effects are. So the study of the Karak in 8th house, we want to see its impact on the permanent significations of the Karak. Some examples that I've just called out. B, we are going to study the impact on the dynamic significations, the char significations.
Okay.
Whether it is Atma Karak, Dhatri Karak, Matra Karak, and all the 7 Karaks. As people say, Jaimini scheme, but Parashar has primarily given this char Karak scheme in the Parashar Shastra. And third, we will study the effect of the Karak's 12th house on the house of body in the natal chart. These 3 effects we will study. Now, I do want to bring in these 3 caveats, Sunil, because I know that you will have experts watching these videos and you will also have novices and people who are starting out. It's important to reiterate this to just about everyone, including myself, that there are no rules in astrology. So whatever we will look at, it will seem like, it just seemed like a master key. Wow, so when I see a chart and I say, X Karak is in 12th to the Ascendant, should I say, tell a person you will lose your spouse, you will lose comforts, you will lose Aishwarya, you will lose all of this? It is not like that. It means that it is a beginning point. It gives us a hint that there could be something, it's like a pulse point, that there could be something amiss. And starting with that pulse point, like a doctor or a guide will check our pulse first. And then we start looking at the chart to delineate, is it actually something amiss or does it look amiss? If it is amiss, what is the exact nature of that deficiency, harm, loss, expense? What is the quality of that something which is seeming to be amiss, and to what extent? So those 3 areas that I called out in the earlier recording.
Right.
How kind of a denial is it? We will look at that. And right now we'll do a very cursory. So let me show you how. But in all charts, and we know people who study astrology will know that these are not rules. One has to see comprehensive factors to be able to efficaciously judge and conclude. Nobody can ever say in life that, whatever I say is the word of God and this is final. But regardless of that, I always personally like to say that there are strong indications. So this begins my hint. It's just a process of hint.
Correct.
And I want to call that out with a word of caution to everyone. Please don't take this and run amok with it. Use this as a starting point.
Correct. That's very, very, put it in a very balanced manner. And I appreciate that. Thank you for, especially the young ones. They need this kind of balanced approach. So thank you for guiding all of us.
Thanks, Sunil. So let's move to our first chart. This is a chart of a woman who is today aged between 65 to 70. I don't exactly remember the year of her birth, and I've taken care not to put that. So let's say over here in this chart, what we're noticing is it's going a little out of screen for me. If we can just minimize, Sunil, I'm not able to see the chart, the full slide.
Okay, you want the full slide.
Yeah, let's just zoom out a little. Yeah, just a little bigger. Yeah, there we go. So over here, very clearly, let's begin with Venus being 12th to the ascendant. So Venus, of course, is a karak for bed pleasures. I'm not taking it as a karak for spouse because this is a female chart. And in regardless of male or female, it's a karak for bed pleasures. Now, this woman has had separation. She has had very challenging relations with her husband since the time that she got married. A, and B, she has had a long separation from her husband, which has been intermittent in the early years and then has been permanent in the later years.
So it's Virgo ascendant.
It is Virgo ascendant. Yes, and we are looking at Venus as being 12th from the ascendant.
Okay. Okay.
And Venus is a karak for, right now, so I'm plucking out areas of life. And Venus as a karak for bed pleasure. So 12th to the ascendant. And notice it's also in Leo Rashi. So Leo, we know, is a barren Rashi. And she has had a struggle with that aspect of her life. Now, when we say that, so there is one, now over here we see a severe diminishing of one aspect, pleasure from marital life. Now, that is Venus as a karak for one aspect of life. Now, Venus as the lord of the second house and her kutum. So kutum traditionally for a woman will come from her marital house, from her marital home. And kutum for a woman will mean her husband and her children. And then secondary will be her in-laws, so immediate family. And Venus going into the 12th house. Again, now we're talking about A as a sthir karak we have seen. Venus also as a lord. So as a lord of second house is it diminishing. So we know that there has been a diminishing comfort from her kutum because of the example that I shared. But is it all pervasive? Does it impact all areas of life? Venus is also lord of 9th house, and 9th house signifies relationship with our elders, including father. And she has had a father who's been reasonably long-lived, and also someone who's been very supportive of her in her life, as well as helping her establish herself professionally.
Yeah.
So it's not like, everything gets snatched away when a karak is in 12th house, and this is where the balancing factor comes in. So she has had sukh from her father, but her sukh from kutum, from spouse, from marital life has been diminished because of Venus in 12th house as a karak. Okay. Her savings have been very, very meager, if at all, throughout her life, again, representing, second house of Kosh or our savings. Early education. Now, was there an impact, when I asked her, was there an impact on your early education? Her mother, Venus is incidentally also, now this is where we come to Charkarak scheme. Her Venus is her Matru Karak. So it signifies in the Charkarak scheme her mother. She lost her mother at a very young age when she was in her teens. And her mother was bedridden. So I think from the time of when she was 8 years old, she was taking care of her mother who was bedridden as well as the household. So there is an impact on the Charkarak significations of Venus in this chart as well. Is there an education on early education? Early education seen from second house? I asked her that question and she said she's always been a very outstanding student. So the impact was that she had a very challenging time in being able to acquire that education while she was taking care of her mother as well as the house.
So because it is in 12th house, it has given challenges and yet given her the benefit of it.
Yeah, and it has given benefits because of other qualities and strengths. It's Vargotam. You look at
Yes, it is Vargotam.
It is Vargotam. So one of the factors I'm calling out, there are other factors that we have to see for Venus' strength.
Okay.
So very clearly we're able to see here that as one of, if you look at just Venus as one karak, which is 12th to the ascendant, there has been almost total denial in one case of marital life and sukh from kutum. there has been almost total denial in terms of, I use the music in the background, loss of comfort from her mother, losing her mother at a very young age, Venus being her Matrakara. But she had support from her father, Venus being representative of ninth house. And she has been able to acquire. Sunil, is there some video noise or music in the background, or am I?
They're trying to start the play again, the session again. Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Okay, so very quickly, let's look at now Jupiter. Jupiter. We are also looking at Karaks, which are 12th from their Karak Sthan, from their significator houses. Jupiter is 12th from one of its significator houses, second house. Same as above, everything that I spoke about. Jupiter being 12th to its Karak Sthan, that impact in terms of spouse, kutum, early education, it would apply here. And Mars being 12th to Moon. Now, this is very interesting. Mars, again, is it a total loss of certain significations? Not necessarily. She lost one of her two brothers to unnatural death.
Yeah. Also, what I wanted to ask was, this Mars, can we also add, this Mars is also the third lord and eighth lord.
Yes.
So more strong. Does it make it more strong to give the effect?
Yes, all factors will apply, right? So if Mars additionally becomes a Bhratrik Karak, and I will check if it is, I will need to just give me 1 second. All factors will be multiplied. Additionally, you're right, it's a third lord. And Mars being a natural signification of siblings, of brothers, have that signification.
Let me also add for our viewers that the word sukh used in the PPT, sukh means happiness. Happiness. Am I right?
Yes. Being able to partake the pleasure from Nakshatras is significant of a certain that is a comfort and peace, and I'm able to partake happiness of comfort from the significations of a planet.
Fine. It's a good example. You have covered all three planets. From house, from home, and from the ascendant.
Yes.
Do you want me to go to the next one?
Now, with this example, I think we'll be able to run through that. But like you brought out, it's also we have to consider other factors. Does Mars be and not to be?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I've shared the screen for the next slide, next chart rather. Mail.
Yes.
Do you see that? Sun in the 12th to ascendant?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I see this. And I'm not going to delve into too much because some of the things in life still need to transpire. This is a person who's very young. I just want to focus right now on Sun as being 12th. His father deserted the family when the native Joseph died. So this was somewhere in Crete, if I recollect. So when we see Sun in the 12th house, maybe there has been some impact on signification on Sun. As in Karak, it signifies father. Does that mean everybody will have that impact? Not necessarily. I haven't pulled up the chart in this depth, but what comes to mind is I have another chart of an individual whose Sun is in 0. And she had I don't know if I've shared this chart or not, I don't think I have. But her father had lived to a reasonable age. She had all comfort from her father. So Sun being in the 12th house gave her certain disagreements with her father, but because it was in Leo, it did not really impact significantly books that she could take from her father. So we have to see all of the factors. We can't jump to conclusions. We have to. In this case, of course, the individual did not have the comfort of the Sun is the 7th lord. If you look at house lordship, 7th represents business and partnerships, and 8 is others. Is this the only factor that's going to determine whether an individual will be in service or business? No. But one thing we are able to see very clearly is that this individual is not doing business or partnership. So there is, we can say a harmony to that as well, that aspect. There is some denial of that aspect. Quickly, let's go to Mercury being from Ascendant. Mercury in this person's chart is the Matrukara. Now, has this person had to have some denial in terms of Sukh from mother? His mother has had a very difficult life. Therefore, perhaps the kind of comfort he could have derived from a mother who did not have such a difficult life could have been very different in life. So and the native lives apart from his mother as well as the birth. So therefore is the Matra Karak, which signifies both mother as well as place of birth or motherland. The motherland, of course, is not right now shown in the chart, but for both parts, the individual has had some breaking away from it. I will not call it a bad, but a breaking away. We move on to the next one.
The next chart, Moon in the 12th to the Ascendant.
Okay, Moon in the 12th house. Now, Moon in this chart is the native herself. So it is a signification of the self, which is the Atma, the individual, the native herself. Important has gone into the 12th house. Now, this individual had migrated from her country of birth after marriage. He has permanently migrated to a foreign country. So, one aspect of mother being, a moon being the significator of the 4th house. It is not the lord of the 4th house, it is the significator of the 4th house, going into the 12th house. And this is again a hint, and I keep reiterating that I don't think I can possibly have some separation from the cause of both representing 4th. Moon for a woman is also a significator of Moon along with Mars, and Mars is of course 12th to Moon, and I've mentioned that. Mars signifies and Mars both having a significant influence on the on a woman's reproductive system. When this woman was in her early 30s, she had to undergo and now look at the physical and psychological impact for a woman in her early 30s. She has to do a total denial of the functioning of her reproductive system. And I'm calling it a total denial because she's undergone for her reproductive system. She's not able to partake in life or to lead a healthy life in that aspect. So Moon being different Mars has a significant shift in Moon. She's had to suffer this impact. Mars is also Matrukara, significator of Moon. Then of course Moon signifying mind. She's been with chronic depression. Certain phobia with an underlying she has some social avoidance issues. She's not able to connect to people and to avoid social. We move on to the next one.
Mars in 12th to Ascendant.
Mars in 12th to Ascendant. Now, aside from the fact that this money is not going to all of this now. Mars here is Vargotam. And it is not only Vargotam, Rashi Vargotam, it is also Bhava Vargotam, which makes Mars strong, apparently. And I'm saying apparently. It has different Mars significance for women. Mars has the physical presence of the spouse, while Jupiter significance and spiritual presence of a spouse for a woman. Mars also signifies land and properties. It signifies brothers. I'm calling out the major signification, so the most common quoted signification. This lady lost her husband during marriage. I think in the 8th. And one can say, Mars is strong because it is Vargotam by Rashi. It is Bhava Vargotam. She have a very significant, irretrievable loss in her life. I mentioned that after 8 years of marriage. Mars, incidentally, is also her Rathik Karak in the Karakas scheme. She does not have a younger sibling, A, and does not have a brother. So she has an elder sister. As Bhatrikarak, Mars is also signifying third house of communication, not speech, but communication. And this lady significantly challenged in communication. Does not communicate, but she does communicate. In how it actually communicate with her. Her speech is not slurred. She can speak well, but she doesn't communicate much and she's not able to express herself. That is when the challenges come in terms of Mars being a Bhatrikarak and therefore a significant of third house of communication. What else? Okay, so let's talk about Mars as a significator of beauty, or Mars as the significator of property. It does have land and property. So can we say all of the significations are lost?
Can you repeat, please? Sorry.
I was saying Mars is also the significator of Bhumi, a significator of properties. So, so Mars going into 12th house as an astrologer, should I start telling the person you will not have a husband, you will not have a husband? We can't go on to say that because this woman does have landed property. She has suffered these on account of Mars, but she has not suffered material or Bhautik, loss of material or Bhautik stroke. She does have.
What could be the explanation for that, if I may ask?
Let's pull up the charts.
Sorry?
Let's pull up the chart.
I thought you were.
So those are other factors that we will have to see.
Can you see the chart?
Yes, I can see the chart. And we'll have to look at other factors to be able to analyze. Now look at from Moon, Mars is the 4th lord. And it is Vargotam. For Moon, I mean, this is an immediate. I'm not saying this is the sole factor. It cannot be a sole factor. But at a quick glance,
probably divisionals also would reveal further.
Divisionals could of course give that, but at a very quick glance, without even going into the details of the chart, Mars is the 4th lord from the Moon, and it is a Vargotam, and it is trining the Moon. So as the 4th lord, it is trining the Moon, and it is rendering. So Moon, Mars, while we don't have a direct yoga here, but trining the Moon lets support, and as the 4th lord, it is Vargotam.
Can I ask a question on this chart? And I do not know whether you would be having details of there. But would this person be having a property that is near some water body or maybe having some water problem or something like that? Water problem also could be, could be leakage or could be anything. Could you have anything?
Leakage, no, I haven't heard of. Now, whether her property is near the water body, Sunil, I can't say for sure. I can't say for sure. I could check.
No problem. or anywhere near, you know, what do you call, a burial ground or a Shamshan Ghat or something like that?
I don't have those details today.
Okay, okay, all right.
I check and get back to you on those.
Okay, fine. Okay. You want me to go to the next chart?
Yeah, and so another thing, Sunila, so Mars as house, it is the lord of the 6th and the 11th house. Now, as the 11th house is the lord of gains. All of her monetary gains, she doesn't earn anything, she's not into a profession. All her monetary gains are only coming from interest that she's accruing from her accounts and her fixed deposits. And she's expensing those on herself and her daughter's upbringing. That is how she's leading her life. So if you look at it, she is not completely being able to partake also from the happiness from her gains as well. And if we look at Mars as the lord of the 6th house, now Mars is expecting, it's a total Mars expecting its 6th house. This house is the house of competitiveness, of efforts, not courage and perseverance, in the 3rd house. But if we look at Mars as a significator of 3rd house, which is a house of perseverance, then Mars as the lord of 6th house, another house that contributes to perseverance and determination going into the 12th house, she lacks on both of these accounts. She's an individual who gives up very, very easily and is highly dependent on others, even if she has to go for a simple task outside.
What's fascinating for me in this chart, if I may share, is her ascendant nakshatra is Punarvasu.
Yes.
What I have noticed, I mean, of course, I've noticed it in just few charts, is whenever the ascendant nakshatra is in Punarvasu, such people have at one point of time in their life, they land up, they have to start over again, you know.
Punar Vasu. Punar means again and Vasu means vast, meaning life. So you have to re-establish. If you go back to the previous chart, Sunil, I think that lady's moon is in Punar Vasu Nakshatra and she had to restart her life, one by leaving her country and settling in a foreign country, and two, restarting her life after surgeries in another land.
Yeah.
So
Fascinating.
Punar,
You know, again.
You're right. Your observation is absolutely correct, and I have noticed that without fail. And it is also said that people who have either Lagna or Moon Vasu will need to restart their lives in a significant way. Not only once, could be more than once as well, but once.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Right. You want me to take this forward?
Yes, let's take it forward. Now, this lady's chart that I was just discussing, who lost her husband, this is the chart of the daughter. The next one, the chart of the daughter. And so again, quick glance one in the 12th house. She lost her father when she was 5 years old. That's at a very, very young age. And Sun is also, it's very interesting. Let's look at Sun as Char Karak. It is a Amatya Karak, which means that it influences her work, her profession, her field of work. Let's just put it that way. She's very, very young. This child went to study in a hostel when she completed 12 years of age. Or 11 when she was 11 years old, which means in her 12th year. So Sun being an Amatya Karak has taken her place of work outside her place of work.
Yeah.
And by Chakra scheme also it is in her 12th year, falling in the 12th year. Now Sun being her Lagna Lord and Sun also being the permanent significator of Atma has caused this young girl a lot of pain from her childhood. She lost her father. They live in a small town, Sunil, where there are so many inhibitions. You know, when you lose a father or you lose a husband, you know how people, you know, in certain places in India, it can be very, very challenging for people. So she has had a lot of social challenges that she had to undergo as she was growing up, to the extent that sometimes she's gone and denied in school that she doesn't have a father. You know, she says, yes, my father is there because she doesn't want to be or bullied by children. So she's had to go through a lot of trauma. She's been separated from her grandparents, her paternal grandparents' house. So you look at the same individual as a significant, as a Lagna Lord, as Sun, as the Sthir Karak of self or Atma. There is a lot of deep pain and trauma that she's had to go through since childhood. And then after being separated from her father, losing her father, being separated from the house where she was born and her grandparents, now she's had separation from her mother and her maternal grandparents with whom she had started living. So look at the kind of traumatic events that she's had in her life. That's just with one, Suns as a Lagna Lord. Now let's look at Jupiter. Jupiter is in 12th degree ascendant in Chalit. This is an 18-degree ascendant. Jupiter is at 0050. So in Chalit, it moves to 12th house. So the same, Jupiter as signifying elders in the family. We've just talked about how she's had to have separation from her elders. Now, as 5th Lord, it signifies paternal grandfather, father's father. And she has been separated from her paternal grandfather since the time she was 6 years old. Jupiter in 12th to Moon, same significations that we just talked about. Jupiter as the 4th, Jupiter as the, 5th Lord, I just talked about that. Jupiter is the 4th from Moon. Look at the kind of separations that she has had in terms of, she has changed 2 houses and she's been separated from 4th Lord from Moon, her mother. Again at a young age. So look at Jupiter as being 12th from Ascendant. So the double 12th house effect. 12th Ascendant in Chalit and 12th from Moon. And all of the significations which have been
very good example you have taken actually. So
a very strong outcomes that we're able to see in. Jupiter is incidentally not only 12th from Ascendant in Chalit, it is 12th from Moon, it is also 12th from its Karak's second house, which is house of Kutum and early education. And look at the impact that it has had in separating her from her Kutum of birth, in her family of birth, her early education has been challenged because of this. So all the second houses, sanskaras that one gets from a stable childhood have been impacted because of this. We're not saying that an individual will not acquire sanskars or will not bring sanskars from this life, but we are saying that from an early childhood, it has had an impact. Now let's look at
Mercury. How is Mercury behaving?
So Mercury, the native doesn't have a mama. There is no maternal uncle. Well,
so Mercury is the Karaka for maternal uncle.
For maternal uncles, yes. She doesn't have now. For this person at the age where she is at, Mercury is also the significator of education. And we've just talked about the struggle that she's had with education so far, or places of education as well as with education. And Mercury as a significator of speech. Now, this is very interesting. Not because of her father's death, but we have been seeing her from her birth, Sunil. From the time she started talking and interacting, she's a quiet child. She just sits and observes. She doesn't talk to people, even family. Only very, very close and intimate family she'll talk to them. People living in her home. But anyone from outside who comes, she doesn't communicate. And it takes her months, sometimes years, to start communicating with people. She doesn't open up. Mercury is a significator of speech. She will not utter a word. If you ask her, how are you? She will nod her head and say, okay. That's it. It will be the end of the conversation.
It's okay. She reminds me of one of the office girls who works with us.
Okay.
She's exactly like that. I unfortunately don't have a horoscope, but yeah, Mercury, this could be one of the factors. Yeah.
And she's not naturally playful. So she's not someone who will go and search for friends. She plays on her own. She will ride her bicycle. If friends come and talk to her, she's fine. But she's not extrovert in terms of finding playmates. So that playfulness of Mercury, that those significations have been.
Okay.
So look at how much one can glean. Not conclude. I'm very careful in my choice of words. How much one can glean. And this leads us to then try and isolate the other factors. So how much, to what extent, is it not? We need to let it determine. Let's go to the next one.
Venus in the 12th from Ascendant.
Oh, okay. So I didn't talk about that. Venus in the 12th. Venus is her third lord. So, as how in terms of house lordship, does not have a younger sibling. And as third lord, we just talked about her communication skills and talent, not just speech, but also her communication skills.
Good job.
Okay, let's look at the next one.
Next one.
Picking off on the first. Okay, yeah, the next one. Okay, now after doing all of these in so much depth, I didn't touch upon all of the Karaks being in 12th to moon in this chart. But let's begin with Jupiter first in 12th to Ascendant. Now, when I look at this chart, going by what we talked about, should I tell this person that we will say Jupiter as being a permanent significator of happiness? Should I tell this person you will not have happiness in your life because Jupiter is in your 12th house? Or should I tell this person that you will not have, the suit of elders in your life? Jupiter is in 12th house, you may not have that suit or comforts or blessings in some way. Again, a caution, word of caution and warning not to jump to those conclusions. But let's look at the impact. This is it's a Bali Jupiter on 2 accounts, or maybe 3 accounts. One, it is in its own house in the 12th house. It is exalted in the Navansh. And it is strong by being a retrograde planet. Any planet which is retrograde becomes strong. We know that from the system. So it gains 3 times the strength of a normal planet is what our classics tell us, which means it's a strong Jupiter. Regardless of this being a strong Jupiter, there are certain challenges this individuals had on account of the Karakas of Jupiter. Let's look at it. This native was old when his family had migrated out of India, gone to the US. And he's been settled in the US almost ever since. He came back for a short spell for a few years and then went back and settled there permanently. So this person's had separation from elders, Jupiter being a significator of elder people in the family. However, what is significant because of the other strengths of Jupiter that we've seen is all of the elders in the family have been long-lived. They have lived beyond 80 years.
Right.
All of them for generations, except his paternal grandfather, who was not alive when he was born.
So it's taking away something and it's balancing something.
Balancing something. So who was not there when he was born? Let's not even call it. In a way, yes, it is a denial, but that is the only in his lineage, that is the only elder that I have been able to trace. Otherwise, it had he has been separated from his elders, including his father, for most of his life. But because of the strength of Jupiter, he has had the blessings of his elders throughout his life. They have cared for him, they have been concerned from him, and whatever they could bequeath to him, they have also bequeathed to him. So he has had that comfort. So we cannot say outrightly because a certain Karak is in the 12th house, there is going to be a total or a major loss. But there is going to be an impact for sure. The impact, the quality has to be evaluated. This impact, now Jupiter is, why did I say no? Yes, third lord. So in terms of house lordship, what is the impact? This person does not have a younger sibling.
Younger sibling.
And Jupiter being a Karak of Dharma, as ninth house, this person is an atheist. So there have been certain, significant impacts on the significant. Let's look at Sun now, in the 12th house. Yeah. We talked about separation from father. Sun is also second lord from moon. We talked about separation from premarital kutum. So there are, for a male, the kutum will be one which comes from your lineage, and the other kutum will be the lineage that you carry forth after your marriage. So the premarital lineage, that kutum, he has had separation from, Sun being 12th to moon. Now, to what extent we've also looked at the fact that it's been a physical separation, but he has had comforts and blessings, and he's also gained materially from his kutum. Okay, Sun being a karak for bones, this person has had two significant accidents where he's broken bones. One of them being very significant because he broke, I think he broke more than one bone in his foot, and he lost all the, he had ruptured the muscles in one of his feet to an accident. It was a serious accident that he had. So Saturn,
and also looking from the normal ascendant, you see his sixth house so crowded.
So crowded, yes. And so muscles, look at Saturn. Saturn in Chalit is getting into sixth from Moon. And Saturn is the skill karak for the muscular system. And he has had a severe impairment to the muscular system in one part of his body because of the accident. And I haven't even gotten into the other karaks, Venus, Mercury. He is married. There have been challenges in his marital life, but the marriage continues and it will continue. So I'm not, so those are details that we've seen in the previous chart, so I didn't get into those. And of course, there was...
Would you by any chance know if any significant event happened in his marriage 3 months from the date of his marriage? Third month. Any significant event? Would you by any chance know this horoscope?
I think his wife joined him about 3 months from his marriage.
So, sorry, come again, please.
His wife was studying in a foreign country. So I think he got married and the wife joined him maybe about 3 months after. I'm estimating must have been about 3 months, going by memory.
Okay.
After marriage. But after that, no other significant event. If you have a significant event, I could ask if you, then maybe I could say yes or no.
Good.
Okay, so, and of course, it's Charkaraks because we had referred to Charkaraks. Saturn is Karak, significator of siblings. So this native has almost non-existent relationships with one of them. The only sibling actually. Okay, so this is again a snapshot. Okay, the next one. This individual. Yeah, the next one. Yeah. Let's look at Venus in 12th house. Venus, again, strong, right? It is in its own Multrikon Rashi. It is in Navansh, it is in its own Rashi, Taurus. And it is a retrograde Venus. So, going by these three factors, this person should, just by these, one could jump to a conclusion and say this person should not have trouble when it comes to settling down in a relationship or marriage. Contrary to that, this individual is now 38 years and he has not been able to get married. For whatever reason, the reason he's separate and there are multiple in his life, but he's not been able to get married. And 37, going on 38 now. Now, does it impact all of the significations? It doesn't. It doesn't impact all of the significations in life. Because this person's Venus, let's say in terms of, let's look at Venus in terms of Sukha and Ashwarya. Material comfort of life, that is a part of the whole. A lot of the money that he earns goes towards medical expenses for him. A, and B, whatever time he spends at home, he spends in taking care of a mother who's been bedridden for many, many years now. 22 years that I've known. She's been bedridden. So, when it comes to comfort, he's not had a very comfortable life in the past many years. And his father passed away in Madhya Ayus. So when his father was in midlife, his father died, which is a premature death, going by the age and in today's day and age. And he had to, so he's not had that comfort. Sun in 12, ascendant and moon. So Venus and Sun, moon being in ascendant, they're both 12. So he's not been able to impart full comfort from his father because his father passing away earlier than normal. Sun is also Bhakti for him. He has two brothers. Both of them live abroad, and from what he tells me, they have little or no contact with him. So if you look at all of these, these significations, you might, quite impact in concept. Let's look at one last one, Sunil, and then let's summarize.
So, sorry, repeat, please.
And let's look at this last one, Sunil, and then we'll summarize.
Okay. This is female Jupiter in 12th to moon.
Female Jupiter in 12th to moon, yes. So this lady is today in her late 50s, which means that one knows sufficient, quite a bit about her life to be able to comment on Jupiter being 12th to moon. Jupiter as a social karak, or is a karak for spouse for a woman or a husband. She filed for divorce within about a year of her marriage, and she had been legally separated from her husband. Divorce had not come through yet, and her husband died within 6 years of their marriage while she was living separately. After that, she's had no marriage. So she has attempted to get married a few times, but she's not been. The marriage, for some reason, sometimes, Sunil, it has come to a point where even the date's been, but marriage has not been able to been realized or culminated. So severely impaired. So it's a retrograde Jupiter, which makes the Jupiter strong on certain accounts, and the marriage has not been able to culminate. Now, Jupiter is a karak for progeny. She has a child, she has a son. However, she has had acrimonious relationships with her son throughout her life. I don't think that we have seen a year go by. Her son must be about in his mid-30s now. Where in the early years, the son had hardly seen the presence of his mother. And as he was growing up, starting in his teens, they had very acrimonious relationships, and so they've barely been able to live under the same roof or stay in the same room throughout their life. And Jupiter now, that is the Jupiter in terms of Sthir scheme. Jupiter is the fourth lord. House lordship impact. She lost her mother when her mother was in, again, midlife due to cancer. She has not been very stable at home, so she's not even had the comforts that one would acquire from a fourth house. Whether it is from the mother, not because of any fault of the mother, but because of certain the lifestyle that she had. And also the fact that she's not been able to have a stable domestic life throughout her life, which she's been pining for. Again, fourth house impact. Jupiter as the lord of seventh house. The seventh house is Saptarishis. It is also business. And it is also 10th to 10th, which is 10th being the house of karma and the house of profession. She has lost 2 jobs, the only 2 jobs that she has had. She's had 3 jobs. One she resigned from very early, and 2 jobs she lost because of certain action. She has also had Patprapti in family lives, again a 7th house significant, on quite a few accounts. And she has not been able to do any business, her own profession, her own business throughout her life. There have been a few attempts, not very strong, but she's not been able to do any business as well. So look at how the 7th house significations are impacted.
Right.
Just by looking at this one Jupiter, we're able to see in terms of both Sthir Karak as well as lordships.
Right. Fascinating. This is
Very
just by using this, we can predict so much. So much we can predict.
There is a lot that we can glean, which we will then have to confirm.
Yeah. At least it guides us to a particular direction of thought.
Absolutely, it does. Yes. Let's do a quick summary, Sunil, of what this is. So the inferences that we can draw is that both Jeev Sukh and Bhautik Sukh, so pleasures or happiness or comfort that accrue from life factors as well as material factors, have been impacted adversely. However, the next point, the impact of the Karak being in 12th to Ascendant or 12th to Moon or 12th to the Bhav, of which it is a Karak, is directly proportional to the benefit of material malefic influences on that Karak. We have also seen where house and house lords are strong and have supporting influences, the impact, the negative impact or the Sukhani is reduced and vice versa.
Oh, you got to explain Sukhani for our Western
Yeah, so
audience.
Sukhani, as I called out at the beginning and throughout, Sukh means happiness and Hani means loss or detriment. So where there has been detriment to happiness and comforts that have been drawn from significations of a planet, those are reduced or minimized to the extent of A, benefic and malefic influences on that Karak, and B, where the house itself or the house lords are strong, or there are other strong influences, the malefic influences or the detriment to the Karkattvas. And the last one, not all significations of a Karak or a house lordship are impacted personally. So we cannot say it is a comprehensive loss. We can say that there is a hint that there is some detriment significations to the permanent significations of the Karak, which we call the still significations, still signification of Karkas. There is a detriment to the dynamic or the char significations or the char characters of the Karak, which is in 12th position. And there is an impact to the house lordship or the Bhav which that Karak represents. So many influences can get impacted when a certain Karak is in the 12th position to Ascendant moon or a house.
So there is still some ray of hope somewhere, that not all is lost.
There is always a ray of hope, Sunil. And when we say that there is a detriment, so two sides of a coin, it goes without saying. And I speak from very, very deep, strong convictions from personal experience. Loss, and I'm sure everyone will agree, there is, when we say something is a detriment, it's a harm, or it's a loss, or it's a benefit, it is our perception, it is our own worldview based on our desires. But there is so much that one gains, from certain aspects of life which are seen as detriments. But because we know that there is a dent, it's like when you have a car, if your car gets scratched or there is a dent, you will want to repair it, right? Because it's an eyesore. And it's outside of the norm also. When anything is outside of the norm, when it hurts, it needs repair, or we need to look at how much and to what extent. It's just life is like that.
What's going to happen is now everybody who watches this video is going to start applying it on their horoscopes.
Yes.
And they need to, as you said at the very start, that they need to judiciously apply it, and not come to instant conclusions, especially the young ones. And of course, the young ones are going to bother you quite a lot. They're going to bother you. But please, ladies and gentlemen, my sincere request. Many of senior astrologers are on Facebook and social media, and it pains me that when lady astrologers are disturbed at odd hours in the night, that's one, and straight away so rudely people say, hey, this is my horoscope, predict. Nobody's anybody's employee or servant. And I'm quite sure, Bob, Vandanaji, you have a professional life. I'd never asked you all that. What do you do as in a profession?
Yes, Sunil, I have a full-fledged professional life. Thank you for asking. I have been working now for 25 years. Plus, I started working actually when I was in college part-time. And after that, once I completed my post-graduation, I went into full-time work. I am in the field of learning and development. And my current role is that of a strategist and an architect. So I design adult learning experiences. I work as a consultant inside my organization. I've also worked with about 70 organizations as an external consultant in my career. I always say that I'm in the field of learning and development, and my purpose and mission in my career is to help people grow, regardless of whether it is in my profession or outside of my profession. It's something that I enjoy doing tremendously.
So you must be so busy. How do you get time to do astrology?
How does one get time to love, Sunil?
So aptly answered. So aptly answered. Thank you so much. But we're going to bring you back again in the next 3 days or 4 days And I want everybody to watch this video and not come to instant conclusions. Watch it twice at least, twice, because all the examples, there's one thing beautiful I noticed, Vandana, is the examples that you've given are so varied. You know, you get a lot of all-round view of the subject, the topic at hand, you know, and you selected the examples so well. I mean, really appreciate that. You know, some places where it is retrograde, some people where it is Vargottam, some people where it's in its own house. So you have given us a lot to learn from. And I'm quite sure all of us here uh, admire and will appreciate the hard work that's put into this presentation and your years of experience. And we're going to have you back very, very soon. If you don't come back in 4 days, I'm going to call you and keep on bothering you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Surya. And all the best to all the members of Saptarishis Astrology. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.